So guys, this is what I've been thinking about. A cloud gaming service for a VR headset. Could this work? Because if it could, I think both of these technologies would go crazy with potential. Now, for those who don't know, I'm going to explain cloud gaming, then VR gaming. Okay? If you want to skip that, skip to the time code. Ooh, get time coded. Cloud gaming services is known as game streaming, and it allows players to run games on a remote server that streams the game to the devices over the internet, which means all the processing, graphics capability, and high-end rendering is done on the server side on like a supercomputer on the cloud, and then streamed to anything you want: PC, console, even just the internet. And it requires only a stable internet connection, and then the compatible devices will be able to play high quality games without the processing power needed for their device. Popular services include what was Google Stadia, Nvidia GeForce Now, Xbox Cloud Gaming, and PlayStation Now. I also believe that Amazon has one of these. Next, VR gaming. VR gaming uses virtual reality technology to create immersive gaming experiences. Players wear a VR headset like the MetaQuest, PlayStation VR, or the Vive, or even the Apple Vision Pro, which isn't used much for gaming, which displays 3D immersive environments, motion sensors, and controls which allow the player to interact with the game world in a more natural and intuitive way, making them feel like they are truly like in the game rather than just watching it or playing through it. And the benefits that would come from combining these two technologies would be the VR headsets themselves would become a lot more lighter, as they wouldn't need any of the graphics capabilities that come along with it. So they'd be able to be more comfortable to wear, carry, you could bring it around, do stuff like that. Next up, a couple of the main issues with the VR headsets currently, like the Meta Quest 3 and the Apple Vision Pro, is the shortened battery life, which would be greatly improved by moving the processing power from the headset itself to a service provider or a cloud gaming service, which would mean that the battery would last longer, as well as you could probably fit a higher battery in there without making the headset lighter. The second thing is storage. VR headsets do not have a lot of storage currently, as they need to be small and fit on your face, basically. So the solution to that would be off-site servers, which is basically cloud gaming servers. If they were there for the Meta Quest 3, you could probably get better storage, 128 gigs and 256 gigs, because you'd be able to have unlimited storage off-site, probably like at least a terabyte each. Next, there'd be no need for large game downloads or installations once you put the VR headset on, as once it connects to the servers, they would have insane internet speeds over there. So as soon as you want the game downloaded, it would be there for you, basically. Another pro would be the games being offered to you. If it's a cloud gaming service, most of the time they already have the games preloaded for you to use, so you wouldn't have to buy them for additional extra money. And for a person who plays a lot of games like myself, buying PC games for $60 to $100 and then having to buy an extra VR game a month or whatever, it would cut out the initial cost for VR games, as they would already be on the service, hopefully. Another advantage of this would be you'd be able to play normal games as well as VR games. So you'd be able to wear the headset, hook up a mouse and keyboard to it, or a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard, or a Bluetooth controller, and then you'd be able to play stuff like League of Legends, but the screen would just be in VR. You'd wear the headset and stuff. You'd be able to play COD, but you could use a PlayStation controller and sit on a couch and be able to just see the screen through the VR headset. So you wouldn't need TVs, monitors, like a PC, a laptop, a gaming console. You wouldn't need any of that. You'd be able to just put the VR headset on, Bluetooth controller to it, and use that. The next big advantage is cheaper hardware, because without the need for the processing power in the actual headset, they would be able to drop the price from them. And since the MetaQuest 3 is $800 Australian and the Apple Vision Pro is like $4,000, you'd be able to drop that a lot and release a cheaper headset with no processing capabilities. But it would have to have, obviously, a monthly subscription service to be able to, use it, as there's no graphical capabilities in the headset. But yeah, you'd have cheap hardware, so cheap initial cost, but like an overall cost like Netflix, subscription service, basically. The cons of this are the hardware capability, ensuring the VR headset and controllers would have to work smoothly with the gaming platform. The user experience, you have to maintain a high quality visuals and responsive controls. Next up would be dependency. Basically, if the cloud gaming service went offline, the VR headset that they sold for cheaper initial costs would be no longer usable as they have no on-site graphics, besides maybe enough to run like a YouTube video or a Safari search. But yeah, they're basically dependent purely on the cloud gaming server. So if that went down, you'd have a big issue. Next up is mod support, which is a big issue to me, as Beat Saber and Blades of Sorcery, two popular VR games that have a lot of mod support, and it would be a lot harder to do mod support on a cloud gaming service, as the games wouldn't actually be on your PC or anything. Next up would be the game library, as not every game company or game publisher would want to team up with the game service thing. So any big VR games, if they can't get them, like Superhot, Pavlov, Beat Saber, might be more problematic. But again, you could have a secondary store where you could probably buy games for full price, then play them on the streaming service, but you'd have to do the purchase and it wouldn't be included within the monthly subscription. But again, I think if it's a big enough company, they will be able to access these big VR games coming out and so forth. Lastly, the big issue, internet problems and lag and latency, as the controls will have to go to the servers, and then show back on the screen, which in Australia basically makes cloud gaming a non-issue. Can't use it. Australia has very bad internet, which would stop this from being able to be used in Australia, as we have very bad internet problems, lag issues, and stuff like that. But if you can improve the internet in Australia and other countries, then this internet problem would become less of a problem, and you'd be able to use this cloud gaming VR technology in most countries. And then it would, I think, take off, as you'd be able to play normal games as well as VR games, all within one package and a cheap product. For companies that I think would be looking to use this technology, I think the main one would be Microsoft/Xbox, as they haven't got into the VR market yet the same way PlayStation and Facebook and Meta and Apple have all done. They have not released a headset or anything to my knowledge. But they have a very large cloud gaming service, which already allows you to play normal PC and console games on the VR headset. It says, play on a massive virtual 2D display, no TV or console required, as part of their Xbox Cloud Gaming beta. But yeah, I think that Microsoft would be the big one to do it, as long as they released a $200 to $300 headset, Australian dollar headset, and then a monthly $20 subscription. I think it would take off, as long as it had most of the VR games and a lot of high budget normal games as well, like COD and stuff. Thank you for listening, like and subscribe.